What kind of woman caused King Zhou to overthrow the country, and the world was both foolish and hateful? On the demon-slaying platform, when Daji's soul was shattered, she was selected by the system as the host and became a bad woman in every mission world. What kind of fate will Daji bring to them when she becomes a beautiful and poisonous bad woman? Shuangwen, face-slapping, quick dressing, revenge, su-su. Refreshing and refreshing. Keywords of the novel. Daji, the quick wearer, is a bad woman with no pop-ups. Daji, the quick wearer is a bad woman. Download the full text of the novel, and Daji, the quick wearer is a bad woman. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Qingcheng Daji. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Qingcheng Daji on the demon-slaying platform. Daji, today I will act on behalf of heaven, except for you, a demon. With Jiang Zia's angry shout, Daji's eyes turned black. A cold voice sounded. Congratulations on the host being selected by the 609 system. Do you want to bind the 609 system? System. What thing? Countdown 10, 9, 8, 7. Without time to think, Daji replied, yes. Successfully bound, entering the first task plane transmission in progress. Daji opened his eyes and was stunned for a moment. She didn't die. But she was clearly watching Jiang Zia wield the demon-slaying sword and swing it at her with her own eyes. She should have been completely scared. By the way, System 609. Daji thought of that unfamiliar and cold voice. Daji looked around and there was no one. The familiar voice rang out again. Welcome to the Fastware competition organized by the Space and Time Management Bureau. Half an hour later, Daji finally understood what the system was and what Fastware was. After adapting to his new identity, Daji sneered, "Hee to put it simply, I'll work my life for you. So what's the benefit of me?" At the beginning, she worked hard for Nuwa to bewitch King Zhou. Finally, she was scolded by thousands of people and almost lost her soul. The 3 Xianyuan sisters and the Fox clan followed her to death. Completing tasks will earn you points rewards, which can be redeemed for what you need in the mall. If you win the final championship, the Time and Space Management Bureau will fulfill any of your wishes. Daji murmured, "Any wish?" "Yes, host." After receiving a positive answer, Daji thought of something and his casual voice became firm. "Okay." She has already experienced the worst-case scenario once. Even if the task fails, she will only die, but if successful, she still has the opportunity to rewrite everything. Please ask the host to receive the original owner's memory and task storyline. After receiving the memory, Daji walked up to the floor mirror and looked at her new body. Her figure was exquisite and her features were delicate, but she was far inferior to Su Daji, who had been possessed in her previous life. The original name of this body was Tao Yen, a true gold digger who had just married a wealthy woman in her 20s. Her husband took her on his honeymoon and she died in an accident. She was swept out of the house and died in a traffic accident. The original owner Tao Yan's wish was to live a life that everyone envied. Daji touched his face and casually replied, then entered the bathroom. With the memory of the original owner, Daji quickly adapted to modern equipment and turned on the hot water. "Host, haven't you started the task yet? What's urgent?" "Beauty is the most important." Daji poured rose essential oil into the bathtub, reminiscing about the wine pond and meat forest that King Zhou had built for her. The system shut its mouth, and the host it chose suffered on its own. After taking a bath and completing the full skincare routine, Daji let out a gentle sigh. It is difficult to transition from extravagance to frugality, and getting used to the life of a favored concubine who embraces her in front of her and calls her out in the back. This modern wealthy family is a bit inferior. She Daji, no matter when, enjoyment comes first. After soaking for half an hour, Daji slowly took out his phone. As soon as the mobile phone was opened, the screen was brushed by the information. Daji looked at it carefully. Apart from the sour congratulations sent by the fake sisters group, it was the mockery of netizens in her account comment area. Inducing Mr. Lu into not marrying an old man is disgusting. As expected, the person is exactly what their name suggests, and Tao Yan hates it. Just because you are a peripheral woman, you are worthy of being compared to Shuangwen. After flipping through a few comments, Daji's heart churned. After a moment, Daji suppressed his angry emotions and a contemptuous smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. This is also the first time Daji has faced modern online violence. When she was criticized by thousands of people in Chaogachao, she was not so angry. However, unfortunately, this is modern, and she cannot kill these netizens. Shuangwen. Mr. Lu. Daji doesn't need to deliberately search for memories, these two names come to mind. Lu Honchuan has been a rising commercial tycoon in recent years, a real-life version of the domineering CEO, while Shuangwen is a little playboy who became popular due to an idol drama. Their love-hate relationship is even more exciting than an idol drama, and there are many CP fans chasing their love stories. And Tao Yan is the fake-face internet celebrity attempting to rise to power. Daji reluctantly picked a wine-red silk nightgown from the wardrobe and put it on. The original owner's taste was indeed not good, but none of the big brands in the wardrobe were suitable for the original owner. The room door was pushed open, and a middle-aged woman in a servant suit stood at the door, concealing her disgust in her eyes and speaking coldly, "Miss Tao Yan, breakfast is ready." Integrating the memories of the original owner, Daji remembered that this Xiao mother had been a nanny in the Lu family for many years, and she looked down upon Tao Yan very much, and didn't give her much face. Daji lightly glanced at her and stood up. Her wine-red silk nightgown complemented her allure, and her fair and slender legs faintly appeared as she descended the stairs, with a swaying charm. When Lu Jingming entered the door, he happened to see this scene. In his 40s, Lu Jingming, who had read countless women, couldn't help but feel a wave of excitement. This Tao Yan seems to be different somewhere. Although he is already an old man, Lu Jingming has been well maintained, without a fat figure or white hair. Coupled with his superior demeanor, although time has left some marks on his face, it is not difficult to see that when he was young, he was a handsome man, but less domineering than King Zhou. Daji lifted her hair from her chest to her ear and looked at Lu Jingming at the door, calling out coquettishly, "Husband." The sound of his husband made Lu Jingming feel a tingling sensation in his heart, as if he had returned to his youth. Marrying Tao Yan was entirely due to being photographed by reporters causing a stir. In order to save face, Lu Jingming married Tao Yan back as a decoration. Anyway, he had already done property notarization, and Tao Yan did not receive any substantial benefits. Lu Jingming let out a dry cough and walked towards the dining table with a stern face. Zhao Mama glanced at Daji and brought milk to Lu Jingming, saying, "Mr. Lu, the young master's return time has been advanced." Daji twisted his waist and sat down next to Lu Jingming, listening to their conversation while smoothing his own tasks. Tao Yan's memory lasted until her death. At that time, she hooked up with Lu Honchuan and went to a commercial banquet to give him medicine. However, by chance, they slept together and were even photographed in public. Lu Jingming married Tao Yan for the sake of face. Later, Lu Jingming died, and she was driven out of the Lu family and died in a car accident. Daji is not the brainless person of the original owner. Upon careful consideration, he discovered many problems. How did Tao Yan, a small internet celebrity, get in at a business dinner? Why did she sleep with Lu Jingming? Lu Jingming's state is not like a person who dies so quickly, so what accident did he die from? I'm afraid she's a pawn being exploited by someone. Babies, the new book is here, Sprinkle Flowers. Please click on the wave to collect and vote reading tips. Female leads are scumbags, bad women, beautiful and strong, and there is no only male lead. Men are all playthings for female leads, please do not enter the glass heart. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Money-worshipping Canon Ash 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Money-worshipping Canon Ash 1. Daji can only obtain information about this world from the original owner, but the original owner is too brainless and only wants to make money. Daji searched the entire memory, but there is no useful information. The sound of the system echoed in Daji's mind. According to the plot of the novel, Tao Yen is just cannon fodder that hasn't even finished the plot. Indeed, Tao Yen is just a chess piece. It seems that to complete this task, one must first survive. Zhao's mother glanced at Daji, who looked calm and composed, and continued, the originally scheduled 5th of next month has been moved up to the end of this month. The young master probably returned to China early after receiving news of Mr. Lu's remarriage, and Mr. Lu did the same. Who is not good to marry? Marrying such a notorious materialist woman. Zhao's mother sighed in her heart. Although she had worked here for many years and Lu Jingming had given her some face, she was not the only nanny who spoke up about their marriage. Lu Jingming slowly wiped his mouth and glanced at Daji, who was silent beside him. Get ready, go to Country F tomorrow, he said. Daji bit Xiaolongbao and winked at Shang Lu Jingming's sight, saying playfully, What are you doing? The internet celebrity face in front of him is now lively, as if a beautiful puppet has infused his soul. As he grows older, Lu Jingming has become indifferent to male and female affairs. At this moment, his calm heart has stirred up some waves. Lu Jingming said in a deep voice, honeymoon. Daji swallowed what was in his mouth, revealing a brilliant smile. He looked at Lu Jingming with a bright smile and said in a coquettish voice, thank you, husband. Upon hearing Daji's husband's voice, Lu Jingming felt a sense of sweetness from a long absence. Since the death of his original partner, there have been constant women around him, all for the sake of physiological needs. Marrying Tao Yen is just a temporary plan for Lu Jingming. And Tao Yen was the 9th wife of Lu Jingming. Lu Jingming suppressed some of his psychological emotions and made a somewhat indifferent sound, then got up and hurried to the study. Husband Daji stopped him and ran to Lu Jingming's side, hugging his arm and coquettishly saying, he doesn't have clothes to wear. As he spoke, Daji's eyes showed a hint of grievance. Upon hearing this, Lu Jingming couldn't help but glance at the nightgown on Daji's body. The red color accentuated her snow-white skin, and the deep V-neck design made her career line faint. Although it was a vase, it did have the capital of a vase. Lu Jingming took out a card from his pocket and handed it to Daji, saying, 2 million yuan per month. If it were the original owner, she would definitely happily accept it, but Daji is not someone who can handle everything. She gently pushed away Lu Jingming's hand and entwined him like a spiritual snake, saying, those netizens all scolded me for my poor taste and my husband's good taste. Can you accompany them to choose? If it were to say that Daji was coquettish towards men, it was really well handled, with a few curves in his voice and eyes full of bright autumn waves. The seasoned old man Lu Jingming couldn't resist the temptation of the Millennium Fox and agreed to her request. Lu Jingming's commercial empire was large and involved many industries. The largest shopping mall in the city center was the Lu family's, and Daji didn't change his clothes, so he got off the car like this. Tao Yan's figure is undeniable. Being able to become popular in this internet age where internet celebrity female anchors are everywhere must have some genuine talent. Wearing a satin nightgown on her body, coupled with a soul that has changed the core, she forcefully wore the nightgown with a sense of high-end dress. Fenghuang Street, which has the highest traffic, has attracted stunning gazes from passers-by towards Daji. These gazes made Lu Jingming feel a bit uncomfortable in his heart, as if his treasure was being coveted. At this moment, Daji turned around and rushed to land. Jingming hooked his fingers and smiled coquettishly, husband, come on. Phoenix Street has an ancient history and newly built large floor-to-ceiling glass buildings, perfectly combining classical and modern elements. Here, there are some of the most modern men and women, the most trendy stores, and also a popular check.in spot for internet celebrities. Many celebrities and internet celebrities come here to take photos. The scene of Daji turning around was captured by the photographer Xiaobing, who came out to take photos next to him. Xiaobing Gu is a street photography blogger, and many amateur beauties have become popular on the internet in his photos. From the moment Daji got off the car, his gaze was locked on him. He has photographed countless beauties, and it must be said that this beautiful woman in red is really stunning. Her face and figure are not the most perfect, but the charming and natural temperament on her body has never appeared in recent years. In recent years, being thin and young has become the mainstream aesthetic, and sexy beauties also rely on exposed clothing to attract public attention. Therefore, when they see Daji, the photographer Xiaobing Gu, who has captured many beautiful women, is also amazed. After Daji disappeared from view, Xiaobing Gu looked at his work. The red-clothed beauty was full of seductive expressions, and without the need for post-production embellishments, it already had a strong sense of atmosphere. Xiaobing put away his camera and couldn't wait to go home. He had a premonition that this photo would definitely become popular. Facing everyone's gaze, Daji calmly walked into the luxury goods store with a calm expression. This. Daji pointed to a few pieces of clothing and said to the clerk, No, wrap everything else up. This store is also a luxury item, and the cheapest single item starts in 6 digits. These may add up to tens of millions. The salesperson hesitated and looked at Daji. Are you sure? Daji cast a seductive glance at Lu Jingming next to him and coquettishly called out, Husband Daji, who could be seduced by the fox spirit of King Zhou by Nua, no longer needed to deliberately use the fox tribe's flattery in this regard. With just one glance at her husband, Lu Jingming couldn't resist and took out his black card to the clerk, saying, Listen to her. Okay, the salesperson grinned and went to swipe his card. Phoenix Street is not short of wealthy people, and it is rare to see such a wealthy person in such a ditch. Daji wrapped his arm around Lu Jingming's neck and whispered in his ear, Thank you, husband. After speaking, Daji took a piece of clothing and went into the changing room. For men who make her comfortable, Daji is also generous with rewards. Although Lu Jingming is a bit old, he maintains well, and Lu Jingming is also the first step on her mission. The warm breathing sound sprayed in his ears, itchy and crispy. Lu Jingming couldn't help but touch his ears, watching the closed changing room darken his eyes. For a moment, the door to the changing room opened, and as the woman walked out, besides the clerk and Lu Jingming, a couple who had just entered were also stunned. A high-waisted red dress appeared to have a faint grip on the waist, and the slit hem revealed her beautiful legs. Paired with a black knitted top, Daji specially added makeup in the dressing room to match the clothes. Her fiery red lips were charming, creating a charming beauty. Such intense beauty is something that few women in their early 20s can handle, and without enough temperament, it will appear vulgar. Daji flicked his long, loose hair and gave Lu Jingming a look. Are you pretty? End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Money-worshipping Canon Ash 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Money-worshipping Canon Ash 2. Daji's charming and proud appearance made the two men present feel uneasy, as if they had seen a little fox waiting for praise, making them want to pinch their ears. The woman at the door felt inexplicably flustered when she saw the man beside her staring at another woman in a daze. She tugged at his sleeve and called out, Hanchuan. The sound of Hanchuan caught Daji's attention. There is a pair of handsome men and beautiful women at the door, who are a perfect match. They are Xia Anan and Lu Hanchuan. Lu Hanchuan's face is sharp and angular, exuding a cold and aloof demeanor that resists people from traveling thousands of miles. No wonder he is jokingly referred to as the real-life boss by netizens. Xia Anan next to him is petite and innocent, which is in line with the current aesthetic of being thin and young. No wonder an idol drama has made Xia Anan famous. It's really a narrow path for enemies. Xia Anan doesn't have much impression of Tao Yan because there are too many young models and internet celebrities who want to seduce Lu Hanchuan, let alone the vastly different temperament of Daji, who has changed his core, from the original owner. On the other hand, Lu Hanchuan was stunned when he saw Daji, and then saw Lu Jingming turning around. A hint of inexplicable emotion flashed in his eyes, but Lu Jingming did not notice it, but was caught by Daji, who had a powerful divine soul. What is the relationship between Lu Hanchuan and Lu Jingming? She only remembers that Lu Jingming had a son who was abroad and had never appeared before. When Lu Hanchuan rose to prominence in the business world, many netizens speculated whether he had any connection with Lu Jingming. It was not until Lu Hanchuan personally denied this rumor that it was finally shattered. Lu Hanchuan rushed to land and nodded in greeting, "Mr. Lu." Lu Jingming admired the young and promising Lu Hanchuan, with a smile on his face. "Hanchuan, you bring your girlfriend to go shopping." Xia Anan next to her smiled obediently and said, "Hello Mr. Lu, your daughter is really beautiful." Huai Daji couldn't help but laugh out loud. Before Lu Jingming could explain, Lu Hanchuan glanced at Daji and explained to the people around him, "This is Mrs. Lu." Hug. "I'm sorry." Xia Anan felt a bit lost. Seeing their extraordinary temperament, she mistakenly thought they were a father and daughter. "Sorry Mr. Lu, my girlfriend is not sensible," Lu Hanchuan apologized in a cold tone, with a faint hint of mockery flashing in his eyes. Daji played with his hair hooked while paying attention to the landing of Hanchuan. From Lu Hanchuan's various performances, it seems that this person is not as polite to Lu Jingming as he appears. At least, Lu Hanchuan has hostility towards Lu Jingming. A hint of speculation flashed in Daji's mind. Daji tilted his head and smiled coquettishly, "It's okay, Miss Xia is praising me." "I don't mind, Hanchuan." The words Hanchuan came out of Daji's mouth, as if a feather had passed through his heart. Lu Hanchuan, feeling a bit uneasy, cast his gaze aside and fell on Xia Anan. "Hanchuan, do you mind if I call you that way with my husband?" Lu Jingming's name Hanchuan is a way of addressing younger generations, and Daji is Lu Jingming's wife. It's not a problem to call her that way, but inexplicably, it feels a bit sticky when called from her mouth. The curve at the corner of Lu Jingming's mouth was slightly lower. He knew that Tao Yan had always wanted to flirt with Lu Hanchuan, but later he accidentally got into his bed. If he had so many women before, he wouldn't feel much even if his ex-wives remarried, but hearing Daji talking to Lu Hanchuan like this made Lu Jingming feel a bit sad. "Go to the next house." Lu Jingming hugged Daji's waist and prepared to leave. As the two of them passed by at the door, Daji's hand hanging on one side lightly touched Lu Hanchuan's hand. It was only a momentary touch, and Lu Hanchuan froze as if he had been electrocuted. "Damn it, isn't this woman giving up yet?" Lu Hanchuan cursed inwardly, but lost the disgust of being seduced a few days ago. After leaving with Daji, Lu Jingming tightened his hand on Daji's waist and reminded him, "You are now Mrs. Lu." "Oh my, husband," Daji sighed lightly, his eyes slightly moist. "You're hurting me." Lu Jingming relaxed his hand and lowered his voice, "If you marry me, you must abide by your duties." Daji shook off his hand still resting on her waist, twisted his waist to widen the distance, and angrily and wrongly said, "Do you still know that I married you as Mrs. Lu, but do you and the entire Lu family treat me as Mrs. Lu? What is the standard of living for other wealthy ladies? What is my standard of living? Even if I bring clothes from home, the servants don't take me seriously. What kind of family do I belong to? Mrs. Lu Jingming. I worship money, but I'm not stupid. I've already married you. What other thoughts can I have? Besides, aren't you richer than that Lu Hanchuan?" Daji's delicate and pitiful appearance made people feel a sense of softness, and Lu Jingming felt a sense of pity in his heart. Yes, Tao Yan likes money to hook up with Lu Hanchuan. Lu Hanchuan is a new business tycoon and cannot compare to the Lu family. If she is richer than Lu Hanchuan, she will have to stay by his side peacefully. Men, especially older men, always compare themselves to younger men in a certain way to prove that they are old and strong. After Daji's accusation, Lu Jingming felt relieved and waved his hand, taking out the black card he had just given to the clerk. "This is my supplementary card, unlimited, let's play with it," he said. Daji took the card and rubbed Lu Jingming's arm, saying, "Thank you, husband." Which man could bear this sweet and coquettish act? It seemed like Lu Jingming had returned to the feeling of dating when he was young, and his heart, which had dried up with age, seemed to come alive. Lu Jingming let out a dry cough and said, "What else do you want to buy? I'll take you there." Daji was also polite and strolled the entire Phoenix Street. When he returned home, he followed 5 trucks to deliver goods. "By the way, my husband, I feel that the servants at home are getting older and there is a generation gap with me. Can we hire more servants to take care of our daily life, food, and shelter? Also, their rooms are too small for me to live in." Daji held on to Jingming's arm and counted the demands carefully. Upon hearing Daji's words from the kitchen, Zhao's mother couldn't help but say, "Miss Tao, you." "I am Mrs. Lu." The cold voice interrupted Zhao's mother. Daji's gaze swept over, and Zhao Mama's back suddenly became cold and she dared not speak. Lu Jingming raised his eyebrows in surprise and looked at the delicate woman beside him. Is she really a brainless vase? On this day of interaction, Daji transformed from a discarded vase to a pampered canary in Lu Jingming's heart. What else does she look like that he hasn't seen before? Lu Jingming's heart was filled with a desire for exploration and conquest. Lu Jingming said in a deep voice, "Zhao Mama, go and bring a glass of milk for Madam." This sentence, "Madam," can be considered as affirming Daji's position. Zhao's mother looked at Lu Jingming in surprise. Apart from the original wife, none of the wives that Lu Jingming married after him had ever been called "Madam" by Lu Jingming. Daji's lips curved into a familiar coquettish smile and he said, "Zhao Mama, milk should be warm." Zhao Mama pursed her lips and said, "Yes, Madam." When Zhao's mother left, Lu Jingming reluctantly pinched Daji's ear, his tone unconsciously carrying a hint of indulgence. "You." Daji leaned against Lu Jingming without bones, coquettishly saying, "Husband, I'm tired and can't walk. Can you carry me to rest?" Lu Jingming is more than 20 years younger than Daji, and a man who is almost 50 years old is not without reading online comments. Netizens call him an old man, but in fact, men are more afraid of aging than women. Here in Daji, Lu Jingming feels a feeling of being a light man from the past. The women he married or found outside, some due to his power and some due to his age, would not make such excessive demands. Only Daji really manipulated the strong and light men he used to be. Lu Jingming squatted down and laughed loudly, "Hold on firmly." End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Money-worshipping Canon Ash 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Money-worshipping Canon Ash 3. The master bedroom of the two was on the 2nd floor, and after carrying Daji to the room, Lu Jingming was panting and flipping through the cabinet looking for medicine. After taking the medicine, Lu Jingming explained to Daji, "It's been a long time since I've exercised, my heart can't take it." Daji took the small bottle from Lu Jingming's hand and sniffed it through her nose. There was nothing special about it. The medicine bottle was covered in words she couldn't understand. She put it down in the bathroom and wandered around all day, feeling a bit tired. It was best to take a bath. I still need a massage. Daji supported the bathroom door and hooked his fingers at Lu Jingming, who was resting on the sofa, saying, "Husband, come over here." Lu Jingming was also very tired and didn't want to move, but he stood up honestly and walked towards the bathroom. While undressing, Daji ordered, "My husband help me to drain water, and then take my facial mask." Just as Lu Jingming was about to speak, he scanned his eyes and saw his beautiful body. In an instant, blood surged up and down, and his Adam's apple rolled up and down. The words on his lips were swallowed. He has seen her body before, and it can even be said that Tao Yan's figure is not the best among the women he has ever had. He used to feel average, but at this moment, there is a deadly temptation to die. When it comes to enchanting sentient beings, no one can match the fox spirit, let alone the fox with 9 tails, the fox spirit that even King Zhou cannot resist, and even a mere Lu Jingming cannot resist. Daji was waited on by Lu Jingming like a queen. When Lu Jingming put a facial mask on her face and lay down in the bath, he took out his mobile phone and opened his social account. Tao Yan has an account in TikTok, and has more than 1 million fans. Usually, he just sends videos to receive advertisements and makes money by live broadcast. Before he married Lu Jingming, Tao Yan's comment area was still harmonious. Since he seduced Lu Hanchuan not to be photographed with Lu Jingming in the hotel, Tao Yan's comment area was full of foul words. Lu Jingming is even older than your father, isn't he? How does an old man taste? Haha. Disgusting, shameless. When will Aunt Jiu leave the hall? Although he married Tao Yan, it was just what Lu Jingming said to him. He didn't have a wedding or a marriage certificate because he was the 9th wife to be married, so the outside world mocked Tao Yan as the 9th aunt. Madame Lu, her name is not legitimate and her words are not appropriate. Lu Jingming rubbed Daji's shoulders, his eyes never moving away from him, and Daji flipped his phone without avoiding him. Lu Jingming also saw those comments. These comments are not the first time that Lu Jingming has seen them. The several wives he married before were also ridiculed and questioned by the outside world. However, now, thinking that Daji may have other emotions when he sees these comments, Lu Jingming cannot help but feel a pang of panic in his heart. Yan, tomorrow we will go to F country to obtain the certificate first. We will hold the wedding after our honeymoon returns. For many years, he couldn't remember the scene of getting married back then. Speaking of the wedding, Lu Jingming felt a sense of anticipation in his heart. If we get married to her, it seems good too. Daji flipped through the comments and said in a low voice, "Will I leave the house clean like your previous wives did?" Lu Jingming explained, Yan, don't listen to netizens talking nonsense. Daji didn't speak, and Lu Jingming's heart became even more anxious. He lifted her chin and raised Daji's head. The woman with hot blisters had a rosy face, and tears welled up in her eyes, shattering Lu Jingming's heart. Lu Jingming wiped Daji's tears like a furry boy, his voice urgent. Why are you crying, Yan? I don't want to be kicked out. I'm only 20 years old, and I don't know anything except for making videos. But I don't have any fans now, they all curse at me. Daji was sobbing, tears falling one by one, crying like a pear blossom with rain. Despite whether his clothes would get wet, Lu Jingming hugged Daji tightly and said, Yan. Yeah, she's only 20 years old, younger than her own son, and she hasn't attended college yet. She doesn't know any skills, and her only way to make money is to become an internet celebrity, marry her, and be criticized online. She loves money so much. Lu Jingming's mind was filled with the pitiful look of a little woman being abandoned, and his heart was filled with soreness and pain. Lu Jingming softly coaxed, tomorrow I will register. What I have is also yours, belonging to the joint property of the husband and wife. In the future, you can buy whatever you want. You have all the dignity that Mrs. Lu should have. Daji took a sniff and wrapped his arms around Lu Jingming's coquettish voice, saying, Husband, you're so nice. When emotions are strong, everything that should have happened has happened. When Ma Zhao came out with milk, she heard the charming voice of the woman upstairs, and blush. Tao Yan is such a skilled woman. She's really obsessed with Mr. Lu. No, she needs to tell the young master. When the two of them finished taking a shower, changed into clothes, and went downstairs to eat, it was already the beginning of the night. Lu Jingming hugged Daji and sat down, saying, Yan, tomorrow someone will come over and open up the second floor to make your dressing room. If the second floor is not enough, the third floor will also be vacated. Zhao's mother couldn't help but interrupt Lu Jingming, "Sir, the third floor is the young master's room." Lu Jingming awkwardly touched his nose and said, "There are still many vacant rooms." Zhao's mother glared at Daji with some dissatisfaction and said, "You also know the young master's personality. If he moves the third floor, he may not be happy." Thinking of his son's personality, Lu Jingming fell silent for a moment and said to Daji, "Yan Yan, I'll buy you a villa. It's okay for us to live alone, whatever you want." Upon hearing this, Daji couldn't help but develop some curiosity towards Lu Jingming's son. Regarding the only heir of the Lu family, there are no photos circulating online, and the person has been living abroad without even knowing their name. The original owner Tao Yen had no interaction with the mysterious heir of the Lu family. After the death of Lu Jingming, Tao Yen was expelled from the Lu family, and she was not even qualified to attend Lu Jingming's funeral. Okay, Daji agreed to Lu Jingming's proposal with great understanding. Lu Jingming breathed a sigh of relief and became more fond of Daji's thoughtfulness and understanding. Zhao's mother sounded an alarm in her heart as she watched Lu Jingming's concern for Daji. The commercial empire under the name of Lu Jingming is now relatively healthy, with the only heir being the young master. However, if she marries a wife, there will be an additional heir, and she does not want an outsider to share the young master's wealth. Fortunately, Mr. Lu was quite rational and did not register his marriage with this woman. Even if registered, premarital property will still be divided. Thinking of the previous appointments, Zhao Mama felt a little relieved. The next day, Daji got up under the care of Lu Jingming and went downstairs after washing up. Lu Jingming brought milk and placed it in front of Daji. Looking at Daji's small suspender, he couldn't help but advise, "Yan Yan, you can't wear a white shirt like this in the registration photo." Zhao Mama's voice rose up beside her, "Registration photo." Daji took Lu Jingming's milk and gave him a good morning kiss, then smiled and said to Zhao's mother, "Yes, Zhao's mother. Today, I'm going to register for marriage with Lao Lu, and I don't have a shirt. To avoid wasting time, you can help me buy a shirt and send it over." It's over, Mr. Lu is really confused by this little fairy. Zhao's mother couldn't help but ask Lu Jingming, "Does the young master know?" Before Lu Jingming could speak, Daji put down his milk glass and the glass made a bang sound on the table. Zhao's mother's heart trembled, and then Daji's coquettish voice came with a hint of mockery. "Why, I have to give a report to my son when I get married." End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Money-worshipping Canon Ash 4. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Money-worshipping Canon Ash. For the restaurant was quiet, and Zhao's mother glanced at Lu Jingming, not daring to speak out. Lu Jingming, who has been in the shopping mall for decades, has a certain deterrent power. At the moment, he is also like a turtle dove, and dare not to contradict. He takes a Xiaolongbao and feeds it to Daji. He coaxes him with a good voice. "Yan Yan, don't be angry, go to register after eating." After speaking, Lu Jingming said to Zhao's mother doesn't need to tell the young master about this matter. You go buy a white shirt and send it to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Zhao's mother glanced at Daji and dared not say anything more. She responded, "Yes." When the two arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau, Zhao's mother had already delivered the clothes. Looking at the backs of Lu Jingming and Daji, Zhao's mother took out her phone and made a phone call. Less than half an hour before and after obtaining the certificate, after coming out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, Lu Jingming looked at Xiaolongbao and felt a sense of satisfaction with his girlfriend who had been in love for many years. Lu Jingming couldn't help but embrace Daji, his voice incredibly gentle. "Yan Yan, from now on, you will be my legitimate wife of Lu Jingming." On the way to the airport, Lu Jingming took out a contract and gave it to Daji. 5% of the Lu family will be given to you as a dowry. The vast commercial empire of the Lu family holds countless wealth, with 5% not only worth billions but also having a certain degree of influence. It should be noted that Lu Jingming himself only has 25%, and the inheritors of the Lu family are only 15%. Thank you, husband. Daji accepted with a smile. After a 20-day honeymoon trip, they returned to attend their wedding and coincidentally had their son return to China. This was Lu Jingming's plan, and Daji had no objections. The two of them boarded a plane to F country. Before boarding the plane, Daji took out his phone and took a photo and sent it to Weibo. At this point, a set of photos on the internet became popular. After Xiaobing returned, he quickly fixed yesterday's street photo and posted it on social media accounts on various platforms. Photographer. Little soldier. The sexy beauty I met on Phoenix Street is even more amazing in real life. Her every move and gesture is not vulgar and charming, with a very good temperament. In addition to a few images, there are also dynamic videos. In the video, the beauty is dressed in a red dress, turning her head and smiling at a nearby woman. She is not young and does not belong to the charm of mature women. It is this combination of youthful and beautiful purity and seductive demeanor that is the most outstanding. The comments section is full of moans, asking who this is. The popularity is increasing, and after trending, some netizens dug up information about this woman. It was the internet celebrity Tao Yan who had a heated argument with the old man a few days ago. Lying trough. Surprisingly, it was her. She went for plastic surgery, right? I really didn't recognize her, to be honest. These few photos of Tao Yan are amazing. It must be a soldier with good technical skills. I don't know where she got that internet celebrity face. I'm looking for a doctor with the same style. The comment section gradually tilted, and netizens ran to Daji Weibo to mock or lick their faces. They saw that Daji's latest updates were a marriage certificate and a contract document. Unknown netizens only saw the marriage certificate, while Lu Hanchuan, holding a mobile phone, saw the seal on the document. His pupils narrowed slightly, and a mocking smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Hanchuan, what do you eat at night? Xia Anan finished filming the advertisement and saw her boyfriend coming to pick him up. She bounced over and glanced at Lu Hanchuan's phone screen. Her smile on the corner of her mouth was a bit stunned. He is reading Tao Yan's Weibo. After causing an uproar on Phoenix Street that day, Xia Anan went back to gossip about his agent, Lu Jingming. Lu Jingming is so famous, not only because of his commercial empire, but also because of his love history. There are countless women around him, even though he is almost 50 years old. Lu Jingming and Tao Yan Hotel were photographed, and if it weren't for a commercial banquet, Lu Jingming wouldn't have casually claimed to be his 9th wife for the sake of face. Before Tao Yan, Lu Jingming had several oral wives, and no one cared about which one was true or false. Surprisingly, Lu Jingming had many women and only one heir, and there was no news of illegitimate children. Lu Hanchuan turned off his phone with a natural expression, kissed his girlfriend's forehead, and said in a spoiled voice, "What do you want to eat? I'll listen to you." Xia Anan felt a slight unease in her heart. When she thought of something, she looked at Lu Hanchuan eagerly and said, "Hanchuan, come to my house for dinner. My parents want to see you." Lu Hanchuan nodded. The two of them had been on and off for so long, and it was indeed time to meet Xia Anan's parents. Seeing Lu Hanchuan nod, Xia Anan's eyes lit up and he hugged his arm, saying, "When will you take me to meet your parents? Let's have a meal together." Upon hearing this, Lu Hanchuan's expression cooled down and his voice stiffened, "I don't have parents." "Ah. Yes, I'm sorry." Xia Anan apologized at a loss, "I didn't mean to, I didn't know they." Xia Anan couldn't bear to say the 3 words no longer. She has been in love with Lu Hanchuan for almost 2 years, and she has never heard him mention her parents. Looking at his girlfriend's self-blaming and heartbroken expression, Lu Hanchuan's heart warmed and he touched Xia Anan's hair to explain, "When I was not yet born, that person abandoned me and my mother. My mother suffered a lot to support me, but later became tired and didn't seek treatment to save money. She died at home. Speaking of the past, Lu Hanchuan's eyes turned red, and his usually calm and indifferent eyes stirred up huge waves. His cold voice rolled over the waves, saying, "I swear, I will make that person pay the price and return everything I owe to me and my mother." Xia Anan knows how hard Lu Hanchuan works. In the past, she often advised Lu Hanchuan to rest and not to work late. Today, she finally knows the answer. "So, your dad?" "He's not my dad," Lu Hanchuan interrupted Xia Anan coldly. Xia An was startled and cautiously asked him, "How is that person doing now?" Listening to his girlfriend's question, Lu Hanchuan thought of something, with a mocking smile at the corner of his mouth. Then, as if he had liberated something, he shrugged and said in a gloomy tone, "He's almost dead." At this moment, Lu Hanchuan was like a devil in hell, causing Xia Anan's problems to get stuck in his throat. After a moment of silence between the two, Lu Hanchuan hugged Xia Anan, buried his head in her neck, and whispered softly, "Almost, I'm about to succeed. I want to retrieve what belongs to me." Xia Anan patted Lu Hanchuan's back, silently comforting him. The two of them had a warm and affectionate relationship, and when they arrived in F country, Daji and Lu Jingming were holding blueprints at the hotel, discussing where to go to play tomorrow. Daji yawned. She was now in a mortal body and naturally tired. She stood up from Lu Jingming's arms and said, "You can choose for yourself. I'm tired, go take a bath first." After flying for so long, Lu Jingming was also tired, but he didn't want to show signs of fatigue in front of his little wife. He found the medicine he often took in his suitcase and continued to look at the picture book, planning where to go tomorrow first. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Money-worshipping Canon Ash 5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Money-worshipping Canon Ash 5. In the romantic capital of F country, Lu Jingming had a great time playing with Daji. The two of them played until night every day, and in just a week, Lu Jingming had already stuck to Daji and couldn't separate. The seaside. Looking at Daji, who was dressed in a sexy bikini, Lu Jingming pursued him anxiously and said, "Wife, wait for me." Daji shook his hair, attracting a group of stunning gazes from the beach. Without any birds, Lu Jingming prepared to go surfing. For Daji, there are two types of men. Tool men and prey. She has obtained her marriage certificate and shares, and Daji doesn't need to coax him to land in Jingming anymore, so these days it's been Lu Jingming circling around Daji. Lu Jingming is really old, not a man in his 20s. Surfing is a challenging sport for him, and he was hesitating when he saw a young handsome man with blonde hair and blue eyes courting Daji. "Wife, I'll play with you." Lu Jingming ran up and hugged Daji's waist, inexplicably preparing to go surfing with Daji. Watching Lu Jingming panting and looking exhausted, Daji raised an eyebrow and said, "Old Lu, are you okay? Don't force yourself." Upon hearing his petite wife's question, "It's okay if it's not possible." Lu Jingming straightened his back and said, "Your husband is strong and strong. The system couldn't help roast. 2 days ago, there was a husband in one mouth, but now they are all called Laolu. Hey! A fickle woman, ah no, is a fickle fox spirit." Daji didn't even look at Lu Jingming, so he raised his chin and snorted softly, "Just don't trouble me." That proud little appearance not only didn't make Lu Jingming angry, but also made him love more. He couldn't wait to take his surfboard and go into the sea with Daji. Stepping on a surfboard and wandering in the midst of the stormy waves, the intense and thrilling exercise made Daji scream with joy. Behind her, Lu Jingming's face became increasingly pale, and his painful moans were drowned in the waves. The system's weak voice reminded, "Host, it seems that Lu Jingming is not feeling well." Daji stopped and Lu Jingming bent over and whispered, "Medicine." Daji glanced deeply at Lu Jingming and handed him the medicine. Lu Jingming seemed to take out a life-saving medicine, finish all the rest, and then took a deep breath to show an apologetic smile to Daji. Wife, I'll rest for a while, and I'll play with you later. Daji picked up the empty medicine bottle and pondered, how long have you been taking this medicine? Lu Jingming breathed a sigh of relief and said, it's been 1 or 2 years, and foreign products have had very good results. Daji threw away the medicine bottle and touched Lu Jingming's face, whispering softly, Old Lu, what should I do if something happens to you? Upon hearing Daji's words, Lu Jingming's fear of death grew stronger and stronger. The richer he was, the more afraid he was of death. Moreover, he now had a beloved little wife. Yan, don't worry, I will definitely live well for you. Lu Jingming closed his eyes wearily, not seeing the teasing in Daji's eyes. In the next few days, Lu Jingming accompanied Daji through intense and exciting entertainment activities while blocking the waves and butterflies. At night, Lu Jingming stood on the balcony and called, send me 10 more bottles of medicine. I've been playing too tired these days, and the consumption of medicine is too high to use enough. Excuse me, I have the opportunity to invite you to drink in Y country. Daji listened to the faint sound from the balcony, wiped on expensive skincare products, and looked at himself in the mirror with an inexplicable smile. After Lu Jingming finished answering the phone, Daji adjusted his pajamas and seductively entangled him. He coquettishly called out, husband. Faced with the temptation of his petite wife, Lu Jingming rubbed his heart, suppressed his discomfort, and welcomed her. After going crazy, Lu Jingming curled up on the bed, holding his heart in pain, and said intermittently, Doctor, student. Daji rolled over, his voice lazy and heartless. He's so tired. Lu Jingming felt his heart about to jump out of his throat and he couldn't breathe well. He turned over to get the phone, but didn't want to roll under the bed all at once. There was a loud bang, a scream, and then the room quieted down. In a moment, Daji sat up from the bed and looked at Lu Jingming lying motionless on the ground. He stepped over him and entered the bathroom. After washing up and putting on his pajamas, Daji slowly took out his phone and called 120. The system was surprised by Daji's calm and even indifferent attitude, and couldn't help but ask, Host, are you not afraid? In the Space and Time Management Bureau, it used to see their hosts facing the fear of death through information and data transmitted by colleagues. Its host exhibits abnormal calmness. Afraid. Upon hearing the system issue, Daji covered his mouth and chuckled, he wasn't killed by this palace. What are you afraid of? She just made him die a few days earlier at the original time. Lu Jingming is dead. Death due to ineffective rescue of heart failure. As soon as the news spread back to China, it became a hot topic. The stock price of Lu's company plummeted, and the shopping mall was full of ups and downs, with various parties taking continuous actions. 3 days later, Lu Jingming's funeral. In addition to attending funerals, it is more important to see new heirs when all the influential figures are present. Lu Jingming has passed away, and his only heir has returned to China. This is also the first time young Master Lu has appeared in public. At the Lu family villa, Zhao's mother pushed open the door and said, Young master, everyone outside has come. The man in a black suit stood in front of the photo for a long time, laughing loudly. Ha ha ha. You really died on a woman's belly. The man turned around and his handsome and prominent features resembled Lu Jingming 3 times. He was the only heir to Lu Jingming, Lu Wensen, who had returned home early. Lu Wensen raised his foot and Zhao Mama quickly avoided it. After coming to the Lu family for so many years, she knew that the young master disliked women very much. As soon as Lu Wensen came out, the lobby immediately quieted down, and all the directors of the Lu family came together, waiting for Lu Wensen to take over the Lu family. Vincent, Lu's stock has plummeted due to your father's death. You need to come up with an idea quickly. If you don't have experience, our board of directors will help you make a decision in the next few days. Vincent, why don't you mourn and change? The Lu family still relies on you, after all, you are the only son Jingming has. He has more than one son. A cold male voice interrupted everyone's discussion at the entrance. Lu Hanchuan walked in with two lawyers and his gaze fell on Lu Wensen. I envy you so much. You were born with everything, he said after speaking. Lu Hanchuan took out a document and handed it to him, which was a paternity test. Lu Hanchuan is the son of Lu Jingming. What exactly is going on? The directors looked at each other. For so many years, there have been many women in Lu Jingming, but even with only one son, Lu Wensen, he has not heard of having illegitimate children. My mother, she is the third wife of Lu Jingming, Lu Hanchuan joked to himself. She worked as Lady Lu for 10 days before she was kicked out. Lu Hanchuan's mother deeply loved Lu Jingming. Even if she was stripped of her virginity and found out she was pregnant, she couldn't bear to have an abortion. She silently gave birth and raised her own child. After she was kicked out, Lu Jingming had a new woman. She wanted to tell him that she was pregnant, but she didn't even have a chance to get close to him. Over time, she gave up. The most common thing Lu Hanchuan heard from his mother when he was a child was, "When you grow up, your father will come back." When he was a child, he didn't understand why his mother would stare at the TV and shed tears. It wasn't until he grew up that he realized it was a man watching TV. So he hates Lu Jingming. Zhao's mother spoke up and defended, Mr. Lu has only one wife, and there is only one heir, the young master. Your mother has no name or distinction, and you are just an illegitimate child. She has been with the Lu family for many years and has received favor from Lady Lu in her early years. She also treats Lu Wensen like her own son. Zhao's mother was very unhappy about the sudden appearance of Lu Hanchuan. The lawyer behind Lu Hanchuan loudly said, now the law stipulates that illegitimate children also have the right to inheritance. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Money-worshipping Little Canon Grey 6. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Money-worshipping Little Canon Grey 6. That's right, Lu Hanchuan is here to compete for inheritance and inheritance rights. The board of directors of the Lu family exploded, and other guests also gathered around with a viewing attitude. Lu family, the weather is going to change. It is true that Lu Wensen is the original heir, but he has been abroad for so many years. Lu Hanchuan is also the son of Lu Jingming, and according to current legal regulations, he also has the qualification to inherit the estate. Lu Wensen has been abroad for many years, and it is unknown whether he has fought against the commercial tycoon Lu Hanchuan. Just as everyone began to dispute the two heirs, a woman in a black long dress, hiring Qingcheng, walked in with a light gaze, scanning the two young men who were competing against each other. She casually said, I'm not dead yet, do you have your turn? The person who came was Daji. She clapped her hands and a man in a suit and glasses came in, opening a document and reading it out. Lu Jingming voluntarily gifted his wife Tao Yan with 90.9 properties and 90.9 shops. In addition, according to the inheritance law, his wife Tao Yan is the first-in-line inheritor and will share the inheritance equally with Lu Jingming's children. Ms. Tao Yan, we will inherit 50% of Mr. Lu Jingming's estate. The lawyer paused and glanced at Lu Hanchuan and Lu Wensen before continuing, the remaining 50% will be divided equally between the two young masters. After dividing the inheritance equally, coupled with the 5% stake gifted by Lu Jingming during his lifetime, Daji is the person with the most shares held by the Lu family. The whole scene is in an uproar. Everyone looked at the young woman in a black dress and never expected that Lu Jingming, who had countless women throughout his life, would actually distribute his inheritance to women who had been together for less than half a month. Lu Hanchuan's pupils trembled, unable to believe that Lu Jingming had sent so many things to this woman. I'm careless. According to his plan, he had an 80% chance of taking over half of Lu Jingming's estate and the shares he had purchased. But unexpectedly, a Tao Yan appeared halfway through. After 2 years of painstaking operation, I finally got a discount from outsiders. Lu Hanchuan's eyes were filled with surging waves, and the cold air on his body made the two lawyers behind him unable to breathe. Lu Hanchuan's performance was not surprising, and what made her curious was that Lu Wensen had no reaction at all. Not surprised, not angry, as if he was an outsider, rather than the heir who was suddenly separated from billions of assets. Daji walked up to Lu Wensen and carefully examined the man in front of him. With handsome facial features and a tall figure, compared to Lu Hanchuan, who is far away from others, Lu Wensen appears to be more approachable. Daji tilted his head and smiled politely at Lu Wensen. "First time we met, I'm your stepmother." Lu Wensen stared at Daji for 3 seconds, then laughed with his head up. "Ha ha ha. What a great show. Ha ha ha." Lu Wensen laughed uncontrollably, with a hint of madness in his eyes. Everyone who looked at him muttered to themselves that Lu Wensen had been driven crazy by his father's death and property. Lu Wensen smiled and bent over, then took out a cigarette from his pocket and lit it, inserted it in front of the photo, and finally waved his hand to the crowd, saying, "Take your time playing, I'll withdraw first." Throughout, Lu Wensen did not express a single word about the division of heritage. Lu Wensen's actions make everyone even more confused. This young Master Lu, who has never appeared before, seems to have a slightly abnormal brain. Lu Hanchuan suppressed his emotions and politely said to Daji, "Miss Tao Yan, can you sell your shares to me?" The board of directors is naturally unwilling to hand over the Lu family to Daji, and has proposed that Daji sell its shares without interfering with the Lu family. Lu Wensen's uncompromising attitude has left the board of directors with little confidence in him. If it were to be handed over to Daji, it would be better to give the Lu family to the young and promising Lu Hanchuan. Daji glanced deeply at Lu Hanchuan and whispered in his ear, "If you want the Lu family, come find me tonight." This woman. Lu Hanchuan's eyes were filled with mockery, but when he thought about the shares in her hands, he endured and accepted Daji's request. The funeral incident quickly spread to the outside world. Little internet celebrity transforms into a billionaire woman. Tao Yan inherits billions of assets. The internet was in a state of uproar, and no one expected that the small internet celebrity who was once hacked, who thought it was just a vase discarded by Lu Jingming, would inherit billions of assets within half a month. Absurd. Even televisions dare not shoot like this. Marrying a billionaire, my husband died, inheriting the inheritance, this horse riding is my dream. The winner of life, the Emperor of Europe. A group of netizens transformed into lemon essence and attracted European attention in the comments section of Tao Yan's social media account. Although everyone envies Daji's luck, there is still a long way to go before completing the task. The system pulled out the system panel and checked the progress of the task, which was 30% completed. Daji sat in front of the makeup mirror, rubbing against the cosmetic bottle and murmuring, "Everyone envies." Not everyone envies huge wealth, at least wealthy people won't envy it. Daji was pondering how to proceed with the next task when the phone rang, calling from an unfamiliar number. "Where is it?" the familiar male voice. Daji recognized that it was Lu Hanchuan's voice, but he didn't expect Lu Hanchuan to contact her so soon. After the death of Lu Jingming, Daji did not return to the Lu family villa, but stayed in a hotel outside. Soon, Lu Hanchuan appeared outside Daji's room. Seeing Daji wearing a nightgown, Lu Hanchuan showed a mocking expression. Sure enough, this woman still didn't give up and wanted to seduce him. Lu Hanchuan's undisguised gaze allowed Daji to understand his thoughts, and the corner of his mouth slightly tilted. "Hanchuan, long time no see." Lu Hanchuan didn't want to talk nonsense to Daji. Xia Anan was still waiting for him at home and said directly, "Let's make an offer." He investigated Tao Yan and found that this woman is vain, loves money, and has no education. It is not difficult to obtain the Lu stock from such a woman. Daji made a gesture of invitation, gesturing for Lu Hanchuan to come in. Lu Hanchuan frowned and still lifted his foot into the room. "Shares, I can give them to you." Daji approached Lu Hanchuan, her charming voice dripping out of the water. "However, I have a small condition." The two of them got closer, and Lu Hanchuan could smell the scent of shower gel on her body. He slightly distanced himself and said in a deep voice, "What conditions are there?" Daji gently tugged at Lu Hanchuan's tie and spoke vaguely, "Be my maid for a month." Lu Hanchuan sneered, "Hee hee. Do you think you can hold on to the shares once you get them? Tao Yen, you are indeed foolish." She was fortunate enough to come up with such absurd demands. Lu Hanchuan shook off Daji's hand and was about to leave. "Wait." Daji extended his leg and blocked Lu Hanchuan. Then, under Lu Hanchuan's cold gaze, he took out a medicine bottle and said, "Don't forget to take your things." A hint of sharpness flashed in Lu Hanchuan's eyes, and his voice lowered a few degrees. "What do you mean?" Dear relatives, please cast your vote and collect your favorites. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Money-worshipping Canon Ash 7. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Money-worshipping Canon Ash 7. Daji ignored the icy chill on his body and opened the medicine bottle to smell it. "My husband has been taking your medicine for so long, his body is overdrawn, his heart is weak, and he died. He is young and widowed. Do you think you should compensate my husband?" At this moment, Lu Hanchuan's eyes were filled with an unshakable shock. How did she know? This medicine was developed by a biological friend of his, and it is also a project he has been sponsoring in recent years. It is a tonic. However, he added some things to Lu Jingming's medicine, and taking it for a long time will make up for the body's overdraft. Daji hooked around Lu Hanchuan's neck, covered his mouth and chuckled lightly, "Hanchuan, speaking of which, I still want to thank you. If it weren't for you sending me to Lu Jingming's bed, how could I have wasted this billion-dollar wealth?" Daji leaned his head against Lu Hanchuan's chest and said, "You're really kind to me." Lu Hanchuan drew a tissue to dry his hands, retrieved his phone, and prepared to leave. "Are you crazy, Tao Yen? I vomited, why are you so promiscuous?" Daji walked towards the conference room without looking back. This is the first time Daji called his full name, and even though the other party didn't care about him, it made him feel a bit chilly from the bottom of his heart. Lu Hanchuan stared closely at Daji's eyes. If his gaze could kill someone, Daji would probably be wiped out by Lu Hanchuan's gaze. It's just a smart high-tech, is that all it has to do? Okay. The system accepted its fate, and its host is not an ordinary person. Oh no, it's a fox spirit that cannot be provoked. Lu Hanchuan is so old that he has never washed a woman's underwear, not even his girlfriend Xia Anan has asked him to do it, let alone his underwear. With a surge of blood and energy, Lu Hanchuan looked at Daji with a leisurely posture and gritted his teeth, saying word by word, "Tao, Yen, Yu, Bi, Tai, Gua, Fun." Lu Hanchuan glanced at the woman beside him and said, "I'll answer the phone first." "You can go first." After all, Daji not only has the shares he wants in his hands, but also holds on to the truth about landing Jingming's death. Within a month, no changes are allowed. In front of Lu Hanchuan, he noted, "Male servant." Lu Hanchuan stood in place for 5 minutes, took off Daji's underwear from his shoulder, and entered the bathroom. "Did I say I let you go?" Her charming voice had a hint of coldness. Lu Hanchuan took a deep breath, suppressed the urge to crush Daji, and said, "I want to enter the company." Tao Yen and Lu Hanchuan have been trending. It took Lu Hanchuan a long time to recover and he asked in a low voice, "What do you want?" Oh my! If the young and promising Mr. Lu is found out, he is the murderer of his biological father. 609, help me delete these. The system was a bit frustrated, but the first thing the host asked him to do was actually delete his WeChat friend. The woman's voice is soft and her words are heart-wrenching, just like the mandala flower, even though she knows it is poisonous, she is still confused by it. Lu Hanchuan paused and looked at the sofa. The woman's eyelashes trembled, and she glanced at him. An invisible aura made Lu Hanchuan feel even more stressed. "As you wish, but now it's time for you to fulfill your duties as a servant. Daji went to the bathroom and raised his finger around his underwear shoulder strap in front of Lu Hanchuan. Wash it. No matter what, Lu Hanchuan is just an ordinary person. The powerful power of the nine-tailed fox soul is beyond the endurance of ordinary people. How much do you know? Lu Hanchuan stiffened, forgetting even to push aside Daji. Unexpectedly, Daji agreed to Lu Hanchuan's request. Lu Hanchuan's face was cold, and Daji turned a blind eye. He draped his underwear over his shoulder and lay down on the sofa, propping his chin with one hand and swaying his fair and slender legs to remind him it's better to have some things in your own hands, but who knows if this bad woman will change her mind temporarily. Daji is playing with her mobile phone. Now Daji is very hot. Before, Plastic Sisters began to contact her again. Daji shook his index finger, her seductive voice carrying a hint of magic. Please call me master. Daji covered his lips and smiled, his voice clear and crisp, 4, 3, 2, and 1, you. Lu Hanchuan's eyes turned red with anger, unable to do anything to Daji. Daji reached out and touched Lu Hanchuan's soft hair, taking a long sigh of relief, saying, "You're really a big brother to Mom." Lu Hanchuan, it's important to recognize oneself. Daji opened his phone and took a photo of Lu Hanchuan, sending him a Weibo post. Tao Yen v. Male servant no. 1. Image, the man in the photo is dressed in a suit and leather shoes, with handsome features, which is exactly the real-life version of the boss Lu Hanchuan in the hearts of female netizens. Daji stood up from the sofa, no longer his usual coquettish smile. He tilted his head and pinched Lu Hanchuan's chin, his long nails leaving red blood marks on his chin. Daji pulled out a mocking smile and said, "A servant needs to look like a servant, Lu Hanchuan, what do you think?" There was a lot of online criticism, thinking that Daji was just lusting for Lu Hanchuan. Unexpectedly, the next day, a video of Lu Hanchuan getting off the car with Tao Yen and entering the Lu company circulated online. Looking at the cleaned WeChat page, Daji's phone finally cleared up. Looking at Lu Hanchuan coming out with wet hands, Daji hooked his finger and said, "Come here, disgusting, don't seduce Mr. Xiaolu." Lu Hanchuan and Daji had just left the elevator when the phone rang. What if I don't agree? On the shelf in the bathroom, there were women's red lace-trimmed silk underwear hanging. Lu Hanchuan tightly held on to Daji's underwear, pursed his lips for a long time, as if making a big decision. He reached out to take the underwear and turned on the faucet. For a month, he endured. When he gets the shares, he won't easily let Tao Yen go. Lu Hanchuan seemed to have been stabbed by something, quickly averted his eyes, and half of his anger disappeared in an instant. Lu Hanchuan hesitated for 3 seconds and took 2 steps closer. Seeing the fear in Lu Hanchuan's eyes, Daji released his hand with satisfaction and lay back on the sofa. Daji played with the tie that landed on Hanchuan and casually answered him, "As a widow, I have doubts about my husband's death. It's not unreasonable to suggest an autopsy, right? Hanchuan, you know, my goal from the beginning was you, a male servant for a month, and you had everything you wanted." Daji took out his phone from his suit pocket, added it to his WeChat account, and when making a note, he marked himself as the owner. How did Lu Hanchuan know that the woman standing in front of him was Daji, who was a disaster to the country and the people, and the ruthless woman who had dug up her own heart and subjected her to the punishment of shelling? The cold aura on Lu Hanchuan's body was just a sight to behold in front of Daji. "Hey, Hanchuan, where are you?" Xia Anan looked at the hot search and her voice trembled a bit. I don't know why, she now has a huge sense of crisis. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Money-worshipping Little Canon Ash 8. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Money-worshipping Little Canon Ash 8. Upon hearing his girlfriend's question, Lu Hanchuan felt a hint of guilt in his heart. He glanced at the tightly closed conference room and lowered his voice, saying, "At work, I'll come back to you after I'm busy." On weekdays, Shuangwen would never disturb Lu Hanchuan's work, but today, she didn't hang up the phone and wait patiently for Lu Hanchuan to finish work as before. Instead, she suggested coming to find Lu Hanchuan. No way, Lu Hanchuan refused without even thinking. Anan is so innocent, what should I do when encountering that bad woman like Tao Yen? Hanchuan, I miss you so much. Anan's voice was filled with tears as she watched the video on her phone. Although she believed that Lu Hanchuan and Daji were nothing, she still felt a bit sour in her heart. Anan, be good, wait for me to come back, Lu Hanchuan thought to the board of directors and coaxed Anan a few words before hanging up the phone and entering the conference room. In the conference room, all the directors of the Lu Empire had arrived. Daji sat at the top of the table, sinking into the office chair and lazily yawning. The directors chattered incessantly, but Daji didn't even give a glance. As soon as Lu Hanchuan entered, the directors seemed to see a savior. Young master. Since Lu Wensen does not argue or grab, Lu Hanchuan has proven that he is the biological son of Lu Jingming. According to the law, Lu Hanchuan is the young master of the Lu family and has received his rightful share. Lu Hanchuan glanced at Daji and sat down in the first position on her left side. Lu Hanchuan was a rising commercial tycoon and quickly gained recognition from the board of directors, believing that it was most appropriate for Lu to take over. After all, Tao Yen has many shares, but she is a gold digger without education or ability. Lu Wensen is a young master, but his funeral has appeared once and there has been no news, not even the company. After analyzing the situation, a director began to praise, the Lu family will definitely take it to the next level in the hands of the young master. The young master has outstanding abilities and is the most suitable heir to the Lu family. Throughout the process, no one asked Daji a question, as if she was an outsider. Daji yawned and his long nails tapped on the table a few times, interrupting everyone, you guys are so noisy. Daji's voice was not loud, but everyone could hear it clearly. They couldn't help but stop and look at Daji, and the scene quieted down. Daji sat up straight, his eyes scanning each director's body. In the moment she caught her gaze, everyone felt their souls had been seen through, and all kinds of careful thoughts had nowhere to hide. They all lowered their heads and dared not look at her. They didn't know that although Daji was possessed by Tao Yen, his soul was still a nine-tailed fox. Even if he couldn't use his magic, the pressure on his soul was not something that ordinary people could bear. Daji wrapped his arms and approached with a superior aura, saying, the master hasn't even spoken yet. You guys are making a fuss, it's really unruly. Which door is the owner of? Upon hearing Daji's words, some people sneered in their hearts. They looked up and wanted to refute, so they met Daji's gaze. To say that Lu Hanchuan is a ruthless CEO, but he is still young and his career has been established in the past 2 years. The directors of the Lu family are all old employees who work hard with Lu Jingming, and they do not feel much pressure on Lu Hanchuan. Daji is different. She is the ancestor of the Fox tribe, an ancient monster, a great demon entrusted by An Yuhua with important responsibilities, and a demon queen who turns her hands to cover the clouds and rain. Her sense of oppression, not to mention ordinary people, cannot even be endured by cultivators who have been cultivating for many years. Several directors who have been over half a century for several years dare not lift their heads when a young girl in her early 20s says something. Lu Hanchuan couldn't help but re-examine Daji. What's going on with this Tao Yen? Daji snorted lightly, it's not a problem to entrust the company's affairs to Lu Hanchuan, but please remember who is the owner of the Lu family now. For the next month, Lu Hanchuan will serve as vice president to assist me in managing the Lu family. Daji did not use a tone of discussion, but announced this decision. There was no objection from everyone, and they dared not speak up against Daji's sense of oppression if they had any opinions. At that moment, several directors felt that this young woman was more like the owner of the Lu family than Lu Jingming. Daji announced the end and left the conference room swaying. Before leaving, he didn't forget to say to Lu Hanchuan, come with me. The office of President Lu occupied an entire floor, and Daji didn't like the original decoration style, so he asked Lu Honchuan to renovate it. Lu Honchuan listened patiently, looking at the woman in front of the French window, dressed in a long black dress, and commanding her to do things. The 88-story building overlooks the whole city. The scenery outside the French window makes her as convincing as a queen. Lu Honchuan responded to her request. Also, let the HR department recruit some secretaries for me. Daji pondered for a moment. Those who are over 180 years tall, have abdominal muscles, have a handsome appearance, and are not over 25 years old, it's best to have some talent, and have a sweet mouth that can deceive people. Lu Honchuan. Is this hiring a secretary or a male celebrity? Lu Honchuan took a deep breath and nodded. Do you have any further requirements? Lu Honchuan didn't answer back. Daji reached out and rubbed his hair in a good mood, saying, "You're so good. I'll reward you for working in my office for 2 days." Before leaving, Daji didn't forget to add, "I'll call you on WeChat for something." I really treated him like a servant. As he watched Daji leave, Lu Honchuan rubbed his brow. He had to think carefully about how to deal with this woman. Daji returned to the Lu family villa. Zhao's mother saw Daji and her eyes widened, as if facing a great enemy. "Zhao Ma, where is my son?" Zhao's mother was wary and said, "What do you want?" Daji went upstairs and coquettishly said, "Of course you're coming back to see my big brother. Don't go up." Zhao's mother wanted to stop Daji, but Daji deftly dodged and went up the 3rd floor. The entire 3rd floor was occupied by Lu Wensen, and as soon as Daji went upstairs, he heard a sound coming from the first room on the left. Looking for the sound, what caught the eye was the man's strong chest muscles. Lu Wensen was lying on the ground in a sit-up, sweating profusely on his upper body. The strong muscles were very sexy, and male hormones rushed towards him. How many years have passed? Daji was in a daze for a moment. She also had many lovers. After agreeing to seduce Queen Zhou with Nuwa, she had not had a young man for a long time. For a naturally lascivious fox, it was a huge sacrifice. "Have you seen enough?" The man's mocking voice brought Daji back to his senses. "Not enough." Daji walked up to Lu Wensen and looked down at him, admiring him from head to toe. The man's muscles were powerful, and his wheat-colored skin made Daji unable to resist reaching out to touch him. Lu Wensen frowned and quickly dodged, shouting with disgust on his face, "Get out of here, don't touch me." Since his mother's death, Lu Jingming has been haunted by women, and he hates women and their touch even more. Lu Wensen was like a stuffed lion, and Daji crouched down and looked at him directly. "Pay attention to your attitude when talking to your stepmother," he said. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Money-worshipping Little Canon Ash 9. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Money-worshipping Little Canon Ash 9. Get lost. Lu Wensen's angry eyes turned red, and he jumped up from the ground and kicked Daji, but Daji skillfully avoided him. It's quite surprising that Lu Wensen is so irritable, but it also aroused Daji's desire to tame animals. Lu Wensen reminded Daji of the unformed beasts of the demon race. Lu Wensen saw Daji avoiding and wanted to continue driving him away, so he picked up the dumbbell. Daji squinted his eyes and his voice became a bit cold. "Lu Wensen, can you give me a try?" Lu Wensen gritted his teeth like a crazy lion and said, "Get out of here, don't come to the 3rd floor. I don't have the habit of not hitting women." The 3rd floor is Lu Wensen's place, just like a lion does not allow outsiders to step on its territory. Lu Wensen does not like others to disturb him, and even Lu Jingming does not go to the 3rd floor. For Lu Wensen, is Daji an outsider or a species he dislikes, a woman who invades his territory? Daji rubbed her wrist. It's been years since she started, and she forgot about it herself. Although without mana, fighting skills are engraved in the soul. Before Lu Wensen could react, he was hit on the face. Hiss. Lu Wensen wiped the bloodstain from the corner of his mouth, his face showing surprise. This woman actually hit him. Before Lu Wensen could digest this fact, he was hit again. Lu Wensen was not the person who was beaten while standing, he immediately started fighting. The two of them went back and forth, playing loudly in the gym, and Zhao's mother was frantically spinning around at the staircase. Oh no! Stop fighting, stop fighting. Although she didn't like Daji, she didn't have any bad feelings towards him. Seeing that she couldn't resist the argument and didn't want to call the police to let the young master enter the station, the security driver at home fell asleep at this point. What should we do? Just as Zhao's mother was about to die of anxiety, there was no movement in the room. Zhao Mama quickly poked her head out to see that the gym door was not closed, and she could see Lu Wensen lying on the ground, with a woman pressing down on her body. The woman's hair is a bit messy, and the hem of her skirt is flipped up, revealing a hint of lace-hemmed panties. Lu Wensen gasped for breath and said, "Zhao Mama, you go down." Zhao Mama pursed her lips and went downstairs with an indescribable expression on her face. Damn it! Daji lay panting on Lu Wensen's body. This mortal had average physical fitness and was exhausted after only a few rounds of fighting. In the end, Daji knocked him down by attacking Lu Wensen's acupoints. Daji's hands were shackled by Lu Wensen, and he felt a bit tired holding his head. He decided to rest his head on Lu Wensen's collarbone, panting while kicking his calf. If you don't listen, you'll get beaten. Lu Wensen gritted his teeth and said, "Get out of here. I don't know what move this woman used, he's numb all over and unable to exert any strength." The man's chest undulated, and Daji could feel how strong the muscles beneath him were. And Lu Wensen could feel the softness of his chest, and the sound of a woman's breathing sprayed on his neck, scorching hot. He's going crazy. Go away. Lu Wensen's face was flushed with anger or embarrassment, and even his neck was covered in pink. No strength. Daji lay on top of him without moving. Apart from being really weak, she also wanted to tease the stuffed lion. You're shameless. Lu Wensen angrily cursed loudly. If you scold me again, I will punish you. Daji broke free from the hand that was imprisoned by Lu Wensen and clasped his fingers with Lu Wensen. Then, under Lu Wensen's frightened gaze, he bit Lu Wensen's neck. Lu Wensen roared, "Let go, bad woman." Daji relaxed his mouth, squinted his eyes, and a mischievous smile curved from the corner of his mouth, gradually approaching Lu Wensen's lips. His voice was dangerous and he said, "Aren't you still learning how to behave? What do you want to do?" Lu Wensen widened his eyes and gritted his lips tightly. Daji's lips touched Vincent's lips and said, "Educate the bear child." Lu Wensen felt the warm touch on his lips, which froze him. A few seconds later, Lu Wensen couldn't help but burst out, "Grass." The acupoint effect time was limited, and soon Lu Wensen was able to move. He then got up from the ground like a ghost and ran out of the gym. Due to his fast movements, he accidentally bumped into the door and groaned. Ha ha ha. Daji smiled and straightened up. Lu Wensen ran back to his room, locked the door, leaned against the back of the door, took a deep breath, and finally recovered to take a cold shower in the bathroom. After taking a shower, Lu Wensen stared tightly at the mirror, with a bloody tooth mark on his neck that was particularly glaring. Lu Wensen touched it and felt as if he had been scalded by something. Lu Wensen couldn't help but imagine the scene just now in his mind. The woman had a seductive look in her eyes, a mischievous smile on her lips, and her pink lips moved up and down, speaking harshly. Moreover, the touch is particularly soft. Lu Wensen slammed the wall hard, shook his head, and wanted to shake off the image in his mind. Damn! Bad woman! Under the complex gaze of Zhao's mother, Daji returned to the second-floor room. Before going to F country, Lu Jingming had the second floor renovated, and the entire second floor was transformed into Daji's bedroom. The hundreds of square meters of dressing room was filled with Daji's bags, jewelry, and clothes. The soft bread bed had a gentle and warm Morandi color scheme. When Daji was taking a bath, he seemed to remember something and took out his phone to send a WeChat video to Lu Hanchuan. At this time, Lu Hanchuan was having dinner at Xia Ainan's house and met Xia Ainan's parents. He saw Daji's video and turned off his phone, continuing to talk to Xia Ainan's parents. The phone rang again. Xia's father thought that Lu Hanchuan was afraid that it would be impolite to chat with them and answer the phone, so he quickly urged him, "Xiaolu, if it's okay, you can answer the phone first and chat later. Lu Hanchuan is young and has a promising career." Xia's parents greatly appreciate this potential son.in.law. They have also read the news these past few days and know that Lu Hanchuan is currently busy. They kindly shut up and asked him to answer the phone. "Well, I'm sorry, uncle and aunt." Lu Hanchuan thought of the bad woman and quickly took out his phone and went to the balcony. As soon as the video is connected, what catches the eye is the woman's charming and passionate eyes, as well as her beautiful collarbone. The woman is soaking in the bathtub, her hair is wet, and there is a kind of lotus-like beauty. Daji held up his phone and lazily said, "Lu Hanchuan, come and give me a massage." "I'm outside." Lu Hanchuan lowered his voice and looked around. He didn't see Xia Ainan following him, and secretly breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. "Find some servants for me. If you can't find them, come over by yourself and give you half an hour." She was served by small demons up and down in Xianyuan cave, and even more so by palace maids when she entered King Zhou's harem. It can be said that Daji was used to being served by people. The Lu family is a wealthy family, but compared to Daji's previous extravagant life, it is still far behind. Madame Daji has always had a massage when taking a shower. Previously, it was done by Lu Jingming, but now that Lu Jingming is gone, Daji will not feel wronged. After the video was hung up, Lu Hanchuan cursed Daji in his heart and called to find someone. End of this chapter.